In 1938, in Deepwater, New Jersey, DuPont chemist Roy J. Plunkett, quote, accidentally developed a chemical that would poison the world. The story goes that he and his coworker were trying to develop something completely benign, refrigerants. They oopsied and stumbled across Teflon. Teflon became one of DuPont's signature products. It was widely used because of its amazing non-stick and high-strength properties.
The cleanup job was backbreaking. I said was. Now I have new cookware with the DuPont Teflon finish. Even burned food won't stick to this super slick Teflon finish. Cleans quick and easy with a wash and rinse. See how sticky, gooey fudge comes right off the Teflon finish of this saucepan. And watch how this baked-on food lifts off my casserole dish. Now I never have to scour my casserole, frying pan, saucepan, cookie sheet, or muffin pan.
For no-stick cooking with no scour cleanup, look for this seal. It's your assurance of a quality DuPont Teflon finish.
The story of DuPont, the family, even the name of the town where the lab was located, Deepwater, sounds sinister. The history, scandals, and conspiracy theories of the DuPont dynasty run deep. Without a doubt, their company and products single-handedly changed the world. Since the accidental development of Teflon, whose chemical name is polytetrafluoroethylene, DuPont has been silently killing the world's populations. Polytetrafluoroethylene, or PTFE, is one of the most commonly used PFAS materials. There are going to be a lot of acronyms in this video, so let's clear the air here. PTFE is the chemical name of Teflon, which was patented in 1945. It is a common form of PFAS. PFAS are a family of chemicals, of which PTFE is generally considered to be the first developed. PFAS get their name from the fact that every hydrogen atom is replaced by fluorine, therefore becoming perfluorinated. PFOS is another type of PFAS chemicals. PFOS are extremely popular in carpets, leather, textiles, and industrial processes, and is also used as a type of firefighting foam. Without getting into the weeds of the chemistry here, because I am definitely not a chemist, what you need to know is carbon-fluorine bonds are among the strongest in chemistry. It is why PFAS chemicals are known colloquially as forever chemicals. PFAS chemicals were widely used between the 1950s and the 1990s. They were used in virtually every consumer good and a multitude of industrial processes and materials. They were indestructible. Does that sound like another material we used to use? Nowadays, PFAS materials are ubiquitous. They're in fry pans, in Gore-Tex clothing, and Scotchgard fabric protectants, in wire insulation, gaskets, seals, food packaging, pizza boxes, and paper coffee cups, among other things. PFAS chemicals are everywhere, and they are incredibly toxic to human life. The notion that everything is poison is in fact true with PFAS materials. Not only are they so popular in consumer goods, the forever chemical nature of them means they do not go away. In fact, PFAS materials bioaccumulate both in nature and in our bodies. The irony that so many sustainable and earthy brands use these toxic materials is not lost on me. When they preach harmony with nature, seems questionable. Stay wise to the irony out there. PFAS are known as being persistent in the environment, which is a scientific way of saying they bioaccumulate. They enter water from a multitude of ways. When you wash your Teflon frying pan, when you wash your Gore-Tex clothing. The use of PFAS is also used in many firefighting foams, which is particularly concerning to me because once the fire is out, where does all that firefighting foam go? Down the drain. Not all municipalities have a combined stormwater and wastewater collection system for treatment, which means that in a lot of cases, that toxic PFAS-filled firefighting foam is going directly into the watershed that is used by many municipalities downstream, and therefore bioaccumulates again. There are over 12,000 types of PFAS materials, yet only 6 are currently regulated. PFAS materials were noted in over 45% of water systems in the US alone, meaning that over 158 million people are exposed to these toxic chemicals on a daily basis. This gets worse. The 45% of public water systems containing PFAS are in concentrations quoted to be above health advisory levels. Not to mention that over 70% of surface water in the US tested for high levels of PFAS as well. The real concern of PFAS, in addition to them never leaving the ecosystem or our bodies, is their links to cancer, loss of immunity, reproductive concerns, and childhood developmental harm. Again, will we ever learn? We need more Aaron Brockoviches in the world. The manufacturers of these products knew how dangerous they were. Within a year, between 1999 and 2000, 3M phased out their PFAS materials after their internal studies showed how toxic it was and how it bioaccumulates. These corporations then quickly did the classic corporate shuffle, creating new businesses to hold the liabilities. Chemours was spun off of DuPont in 2015 in order to be the, quote, performance chemicals division of the company. In reality, Chemours was used as a corporate fall guy carrying all the PFAS environmental liabilities. In 2017, DuPont merged with Dow Chemical, only to divide the company into three pieces a few years later: Dow, Corteva, and the new DuPont. Chemours is still the fall guy with the current PFAS drinking water lawsuits and EPA enforcement actions against the company. Due to the mounting legal actions against these companies starting in the 1990s, they switched to a, quote, less dangerous short form formation of the chemicals in the early 2000s. However, the claim that these were safer have already been debunked. It is now known that PFAS contaminates 98% of humans and virtually all water sources globally. As mentioned, PFAS materials are linked to many, many health effects. Some include increased cholesterol levels, lower immune response, kidney and testicular cancers, thyroid disease, colitis, lower birth weights and developmental effects of children, and liver damage, to name a few. Recent studies show that there are no safe levels for PFAS, not even in the parts per quadrillion. However, the US EPA has legally enforceable levels they call maximum contaminant levels, or MCLs, for 6 of the regulated PFAS for drinking water. This table shows the associated MCLs. Note that they are in parts per trillion, when not even parts per quadrillion are safe. Where this really gets troubling, as if it wasn't already, is that traditional water treatment practices do not remove PFAS materials. The water treatment industry does have options, including granular activated carbon, ion exchange, and reverse osmosis. However, the implementation of these processes is extremely difficult and expensive, requiring either retrofitting existing infrastructure or building completely new treatment systems to accommodate. And also, these technologies only remove about 80 to up to 95% of PFAS within the water. Recently, the US EPA released new standards in 2024 for water treatment, which will strictly enforce water treatment entities to step up the game in order to remove PFAS. However, recently, in the last few weeks, they stepped back these standards, which were supposed to go into effect in 2027. Meeting these new requirements will not be cheap, nor will it be easy. Plus, look how happy she is drinking this toxic water. In future videos, we will discuss traditional water treatment techniques and their shortcomings. Spoiler alert, we basically treat water the same as we did in Victoria era, except we add a lot more chemicals to combat other chemicals until we are drinking and showering and watering our gardens with delicious, toxic, chemical